Obviously, COVID put the kibosh on a lot of what they were doing, obviously, because they were locking down themselves. But what were your reflections on the British trade union movement's reaction to that campaign that was taking place in France virtually every weekend for months?
Well, the British trade union movement completely ignored it. There was no solidarity whatsoever, so far as I could see, by word or by deed from any element, certainly not the official elements of the British trade union movement. And you're right, it's something that I touch on in my book, because it just strikes me as bizarre, really, that, you know, for all that the British trade union movement, the leadership at least of the movement, likes to wax lyrical about its internationalist credentials, how it's, you know, willing to stand shoulder to shoulder with workers abroad who are in struggle against their governments or their bosses. And here you had a struggle just the other side of the channel, by largely ordinary working class people who came together. They were angry at austerity, they demanded more democracy, they were angry at the cost of living, a whole range of things that actually most trade unionists and ordinary workers would be supportive of in normal circumstances. But in this case, it was ignored, and it struck me that actually the reason being that the Gilet Jaune were just a bit too working class. They were just a bit too rough around the edges. They were quite patriotic. You know, they would wave the French tricolour on their marches. And because of that, the trade union leadership in this country, which has unfortunately, I think, largely become a mouthpiece of the liberal class and the London liberal class, was very uncomfortable at that sort of movement. They couldn't relate to it in any way, and they kind of dismissed it as something that was a bit too nationalist, really, and a bit too populist.